Hello and welcome to Drill and Kill. That's correct, my friend. This is where we drill until we kill all the mistakes. So, without further ado, let's get on to our first problem. And here we go. 2.288 divided by 8.8. That's a lot of eights, my friends. Okay, so the very first thing I want to do is rewrite this as a fraction. So I'm going to write 2.288 divided by 8.8, right? So now I want to get my divisor as a whole number, so I'm going to multiply by the giant 1. So I'm going to plug the giant 1 right there. Oh my goodness, that is a beautiful 1. All right, so now since this is that's easy for me to say, right? Since this is in the tens place, I'm going to multiply by the 10 for the denominator. And then if my denominator is 10, in order for this to be a giant 1, my numerator has to be 10 as well, right? So now I'm multiplying by 1, which means I'm going to get the same value for this number. It's just going to look a little different. So let's just move this a little bit so we have a little bit more room. And then we'll do our multiplication. 2.288 times 10 will give me 22.88 divided by, and then 8.8 times 10 will give me 88, right? So 88, and bam, there you have it. I've got a divisor that is a whole number, and that's exactly what I need. So now all I need to do is create my first area box, and I'm going to do that right here. I just plug this in right there. Bam, perfect. All right, so now I'm going to take the 22.88 and plug it right inside the box. Superb. And my divisor, the 88, comes on the outside of the box. And now I am ready to go. And as you see, I have my 8s written down here for my 8s. And then since I'm going to round this up to 90, I also wrote my 9s down here, just in case I need it. So let's go ahead and get started with this problem. I'm looking at 88 and how many times it can go into 22.88. And 88 cannot go into 2. It cannot go into 22. So I'm looking at 228, right? So that means I need to get a place value holder for the hundredths column here. So I'm going to put a 0 right there, which means I'll get a 0 right down there. And that's because 0 times 88 will give me a 0. So now I'm looking at the 8s. I'm going to round up to 90 and use 90 as my estimation. And I'm looking to get as close to, without going over, 228, right? So I've got, this would be, since there's a 0 here, all of these would have zeros behind them. So this would be 90, 180, 270, which is too much, right? Because I got 228 here. So I'm going to have to go with 2 in the tenths column, right? And let's plug that in right now. So I'll plug a 2 right there, but it's actually a 0.2. And now I'm ready to multiply. I've already done my 0, so I'm going to look in just at the 2. 2 times 8 is going to give me 16. I'm going to drop the 6 and carry the 1. And then I've got 2 times 8 again, which is 16 plus 1 is going to give me 17. And so now all I have to do is, I'm going to make that 1 a little better, and now all I have to do is subtract. However, first thing I always like to do is check for any trouble coming, and I have no trouble here, no trouble here. I do have trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from the 2, turn that 2 into a 1, and turn this 2 into 12, and now I no longer have any more trouble, so I'm good to go. I will add my next area box and plug it in right below there, and then here we go. I get 8 minus 0 is going to give me 8 right here. And then 8 minus 6 is going to give me 2 right here. I'm going to drop my decimal because with area division, all I have to do is line up the decimals like buttons on a shirt. So bam and bam. And there we have our decimals. And then I'm down to here. 12 minus 7 is going to give me 5. And 1 minus 1 zeroes out, so I don't have to worry about that. So now let's come back up here, and now we're looking at 88, and it cannot go into 52, so I'm on to my hundredths column here, right? So I'm looking at 88 going into 528, and so for that, that means I'm going to use my 9s again, right? So I'm going to estimate up to 90, 90, 180, 270, 360, 450, 540 is, a little too much here, right? So I'm going to have to come back here to 450, which means I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I'm going to plug a 5 right there, and bam, there we have it. But it's actually not a 5, it's actually a 0.05, right? Because this 5 is in the hundredths place, right? So now I'm going to multiply for real. 5 times 8 is going to give me the 40. I'm going to drop the 0 and carry the 4. And then 5 times 8 is going to give me another 40. Plus 4 is going to give me 44. And then I drop my decimal, and I'm good to go. Before I do any subtraction, I need to check for any trouble coming. I have no trouble here, but I do have trouble coming here. So I'm going to borrow from the 5, turn that 5 into a 4, and turn this 2 into 12. And now I no longer have any trouble coming anywhere. So let's go ahead and make our next area box and subtract, right? So here we go. And I get 8 minus 0 is going to give me an 8 right here. And then 12 minus 4 is going to give me another 8 right there. And then I'm simply going to drop that decimal. And 4 minus 4 zeros out. And look here, how lovely is this? 88 will go into 88 exactly one more time. So I'm going to plug another 1 up here. But it's really a 0.01, right? And then 1 times 88 will give me 88 here. I'm going to drop the decimal, and when I subtract, 0.88 minus 0.88 will zero out, and that is lovely, my friends, right? So now all I have to do is add these up, right? So let's make a little room by getting rid of this. And here we go. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm adding up like this. So I get 0 in the ones column. I'm going to bring my decimal point up because that's very important. And then I've got 2 in the tenths column, so I plug a 2 right there. And then in the hundredths column, I got a 5 and a 1, so that's going to give me 6. And right there is your answer, 0.26. So in wrapping this up, you've got 2.288 divided by 8.8, and your answer is 0.26. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, on to our second problem of this video. And here we go, 393.3 divided by 6.9. Well, the first thing I want to do is rewrite this as a fraction, right? And I'm going to write 393.3 divided by 6.9, right? So what I want to do now is turn this divisor into a whole number, and I'm going to do that simply by multiplying by the giant 1, right? So that is cool. And now, since this 9 is in the tenths place, that means I'm going to use a 10 for my denominator. And then if I use a 10 for my denominator, my numerator has to be a 10 as well in order for this to be a giant 1, right? Now, that's going to change the look of this number, but not the value. And so now, that's cool. So I'm going to take 393.3, multiply it by 10, and I'm going to get 3,933 divided by, and then 6.9 times 10 will give me 69. So, bam, there you have it. I have a whole number here for my divisor, and that's exactly what I had wanted, right? So, the next thing I want to do is go ahead and create my area box, right? So I'm going to plug my area box right there, and then I'm going to take the 3,933 and plug it right inside the box, 3,933, and then the 69 is my divisor, so that goes out here, 69. And now I am ready to go. As you see, I've written my 6s and my 9s. I also did my 7s because if I need to estimate, I'm going to have to estimate up to 70. Okay, so I'll use 70 as my estimation number. Okay, let's move this so we've got a little bit more room to work. And here we go. 69 cannot fit into 3. It cannot fit into 39, so I'm going to have to go into 393, right? Which means I need a place value holder for the ones column. So I'm going to put a 0 there, which will give me a 0 here because 0 times 69 will give me 0. So now I'm looking at 69 going into 393, and I'm going to use 70 as my estimation. So I'm going to imagine that each of these digits has a 0 behind it, right? So I got 70, 140, 210, 280, 350, 420 is too much, so I'm going to come back here to 350, and that means I'm going to multiply by 5. So I'll plug a 5 right there, and bam, there we have it. So now I'm going to multiply with the real numbers, right? So 5 times 9 is going to give me 45. I'm going to drop the 5 and carry the 4. And then 5 times 6 is going to give me 30, plus 4 is going to give me 34, right? Superb. And now I'm ready to subtract. But before I do, I always like to look for trouble a-coming. I've got no trouble here. Lo and behold, I got trouble a-coming because I cannot take 3 and subtract 5. I'm going to borrow from the 9, turn that 9 into an 8, and turn the 3 into 13. Now, this is good to go. 8 and 4, that's no trouble at all. And 3 minus 3 is going to zero out, so I don't have to worry about that. Next, let's add our next area box. So I'm going to just plug this in here. And I get 3 minus 0 is going to give me 3. 13 minus 5 is going to give me 8. 8 minus 4 is going to give me 4. And 3 minus 3 zeroes out, so I don't have to worry about it, right? So now I'm looking at 69. It will not fit into 48 any longer. So now I am working with the ones column here and looking at going into 483, right? So once again, I'm going to use my 70 as my estimation. And coming right up here, I got 70, 140, 210, 280, 350, 420, 490, a teeny bit too much. Now my guess is going to be that it might go in there 7 times. However, I don't want to go over, so I am going to use the 6. And let's see if it goes in there 6 times or 7 times. It'll be interesting. Let's check out with the 6 here. So I'm going to plug a 6 right there. And now I'm going to work with my real numbers. So 6 times 9 is going to give me the 54 here, right? So I'm going to drop my 4 and carry my 5. 4 and carry the 5 right over here. And then I've got 6 times 6, which is going to give me the 36, plus 5 is going to give me 41. So I'm going to drop a 4 and a 1 right there, and then I'm going to subtract. Now, I like to always look for trouble coming, and bam, right away. 3 minus 4 cannot do. That is trouble. So I'm going to borrow from the 8, turn that 8 into a 7, turn the 3 into 13. I no longer have trouble coming. I got no trouble here and none there. So let's go ahead and make our next area box, and then we'll do our subtraction. So here we go, and bam. And now I've got 13 minus 4, which is going to give me 9. And then I've got 7 minus 1, which is going to give me 6. And 4 minus 4 zeroes out. So let's see where we're at. And bam, look at that. 69 will go into 69 exactly one more time. My prediction was correct. So let's go ahead and plug another 1 right up there. And 1 times 69 will give me 69. And when I subtract 69 minus 69 equals 0. And that is lovely, my friends. So now all I have to do is add these bad boys up, right? So let's go ahead and make a little more room. Draw my line. And I'm adding up this way. I get 5 in the tens column. And 6 and 1 is going to give me 7 in the ones column. And 57 is your answer. Let's review this a little bit one last time. 393.3 divided by 6.9 equals 57. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, let's move on to our third problem of this video. And here we go. 1.786 divided by 0.4 0.47. So the first thing I want to do is rewrite this as a fraction. So I'm going to write that there, and then this also means divided by, right? So then I'm going to put the 0.47 down here, and now my goal is to make this a whole number, right? And I'm going to do that by multiplying by the giant 1, right? So I'm going to multiply by the giant 1, and there you have it. Superb. And so now, since this 7 is in the hundredths place, that means I'm going to multiply by 100. I'm going to make this bigger so I can draw better 100, right? Super. And then if the denominator is 100, this has to be, my numerator has to be 100 as well in order for this to be a giant 1, which is what I need, right? So now I'm going to simply take the 1.786 and multiply it by 100, and that's going to give me a new numerator, which is going to be 178.6, right? And then that's going to be divided by, and then 0.47 times 100 will give me 47. Bam! I love it. Okay, so now, as you see, my divisor is a whole number, and that's exactly what I was looking for, right? So now all I have to do is make my first area box, and I'm going to do that right here. And now I'm going to plug in the 178.6 inside the box, and the 47 is my divisor, so that's going to come right on outside the box. And now I'm ready to go. As you see, I have already written my 4's down and my 7's down, and then I'm going to round this up to 50, right? So I wrote my 5's down as well. So let's move this so I have a little more room and solve this problem. And here we go. We're looking at 47 going into 178.6, and 47 will not fit into 1. It will not fit into 17, but it will fit into 178. So I need a place value holder for the tenths place here. So I'm going to plug a 0 in there, and I'm going to add my decimal right away because I know my decimal has to be there. And with area division, you line them up like buttons on a shirt, my friend. And here we have 0 times 47 will give me 0. And now I'm looking at 47 going into 178. So I am going to use 50 as my estimation number. And since this has a 0, I'm going to imagine that all these digits have zeros as well. So this would be 50, 100, 150. 200 is a little bit too much, right? So I'm going to come back here and multiply by 3. So I'll plug a 3 right there, and bam, there you have your 3. Now I'm working with the real numbers. 3 times 7 is going to give me 21. I'm going to drop the 1 and carry the 2. Drop the 1, carry the 2. Then 3 times 4 is going to give me 12, plus 2 will give me 14. I'm going to drop my 1 and my 4 and subtract. Now, I got to look for trouble coming first. So I'm going to look here, and I got no trouble here, none here, and none at all, my friends. So now I'm good to go. I can subtract. So I'm going to add my next area box. And here we go. 6 minus 0 is going to give me 6. And then I'm just going to drop that decimal, try and keep it in a straight line. And then I got 8 minus 7 is going to give me, back up. 8 minus 1 gives me 7. I jumped the gun, didn't I, my friends? Okay, and then 7 minus 4 is going to give me 3. And right here we got 1 minus 1 is zeroing out. So that we do not have to worry about, right? So let's come back up here. And as you see, 47 will not fit into 37. So I am now onto my tenths column here, right? And I'm going to try and have 47 go into 376. So once again, I'm going to use 50 as my estimation number, and I've got 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, and then 400 is way too much, right? So I'm going to come back here to 35, which is really 350, and that means I'm going to multiply by 7. So I'll plug a 7 right here, and bam. But that's actually not a 7, it's actually 0.7. And then I'm going to multiply by the real numbers. 7 times 7 is going to give me the 49. I'm going to drop the 9 and carry the 4. and then 7 times 4 is going to give me, whoops, I got to get up on the fours column, is going to give me the 28, right? Plus 4 is going to give me 32. So I'm going to write the 3 and the 2, and then I'm ready to subtract. Before I do, I got to look for any trouble coming, and lo and behold, I got it right away, don't I? I'm going to borrow from the 7, turn this 7 into a 6, turn this 6 into 16, and drop that decimal because I should have done that in the first place, right? And now I got no trouble here, none here, and none here, so I'm good to go. I can add my next area box, and I'll plug that in right there, and bam, there we go. 16 minus 9 is going to give me 7. Bam. Drop my decimal. I'll love that. And then 6 minus 2 is going to give me 4. And I drop the 4. And then 3 minus 3 zeroes out. So let's go ahead and look at where I'm at. And I love it. Oh my goodness. 47 will go into 47 exactly one more time. So I'm going to plug another 1 right here. But it's really a 0.1, right? And then 1 times 47 gives me 47. And then I drop that decimal like the buttons of a shirt. And then 4.7 minus 4.7 equals 0. And I love that. All right, so now all I have to do is add this up. So I'm going to draw my line and add up like this, right? And then I get 3 in the ones column. I'm going to bring my decimal up because that's really important. And then I got 7 and 1 is going to give me 8 here in the tenths column. And 3.8 is your answer. I love it. Let's just do a real quick review here, right? So 1.786 divided by 0.47 equals 3.8. Hey, just like always, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause your video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, on to our fourth and final problem of this video. And here we go. 2.691 divided by 0.39. And first of all, let's go ahead and write this as a fraction. 2.691 divided by 0.39. And then I'm going to multiply this by the giant 1, right? Because I want to turn this into a whole number here, right? So since this 9 is in the hundredths column, that means I'm going to multiply by 100. So let's enlarge this so I can write a little neater. And then if my denominator is 100, my numerator needs to be 100 so that this can be a giant 1. And as I've mentioned many a times before, anytime you multiply any number by 1, you will get that same number. This is just going to look a little bit different, but it's the same actual value, right? So let's go ahead and multiply. Whoa, this is trying to get away from me, isn't it? So here we go, and I got 2.691 times 100 is going to give me 269.1. Goodness, I was jumping the gun there, wasn't I? And then I got 0.39 times 100 is going to give me 39. And bam, there you have it. My divisor, which is the same as your denominator, my divisor is a whole number, and that is what I was looking for this division problem. So now I have 269.1 divided by 39. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and just create my first area box, right? So I'll do this right here, and bam, there we have it. I'm going to take the 269.1 and plug it right inside the box. My 39 is my divisor, so that's going to come right outside the box. And now I am good to go. I'm going to move this so I have a little bit more room, and let's get started with this problem. And as you see, I've got my 3's written down and my 9's written down for 39. I also wrote my 4's down because I'm going to round this up to 40 for any estimations that I need to do, okay? So now I'm looking at 39, and it will not go into 2. It will not go into 26, so I'm looking at 39 going into 269, right? So the first thing I need to do is get a place value holder for this tenths column, right? So I'm going to put a 0 there. I'm also going to add my decimal right away. and then a 0 comes right down here because 0 times 39 will give me 0. And with area division, all I do is line up the decimals like the buttons on a shirt. And so now I'm looking at 39 going into 269, right? Well, I'm going to use 40 as my estimation number, and that means each of these digits is going to have another 0 behind it. So 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240, 280 is too much, so I'm going to come back here to 240, which means I'm going to multiply by 6. So let's plug a 6 right in there, and then I'm going to go with the real numbers now. 6 times 9 is going to give me the 54. I'm going to drop the 4 and carry the 5. And then I've got 6 times 3, which is going to give me the 18, right? And then if I add this 5, I'm going to get 23. So 20 and 3. And then I'm ready to subtract. Now, before I do, I got to look for any trouble coming. I got no trouble here. I got no trouble here. I got no trouble here. And I got none at all. So now I can simply add my next area box. And bam, there we have it. Right in there it is. And 1 minus 0 is going to give me 1. I drop my decimal because that's what I like to do, right? And then 9 minus 4 is going to give me 5. Bam. And then 6 minus 3 will give me 3. And 2 minus 2 zeroes out. So now 39 cannot go into 35, so I am indeed over here in the tens column and ready to move and rock and roll, right? So now I'm looking at how many times 39 can go into 351. Well, guess what? I'm going to use 40 as my estimation number. So I got 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240, 280, and then 320, and then 360, which is a little bit too much. So I'm going to come right back here to 320, which means I'm multiplying by 8. So I'm going to plug an 8 right there, and bam, there we have it. However, that's not actually an 8. It's actually a 0.8, isn't it? Now I'm working with the real numbers, and 8 times 9 is going to, well, that is going to give me the 72. I'm going to drop my 2 and carry my 7, 2, and carry the 7. And then I'm going to drop that decimal because I just lined them up. And then I'm taking 8 times 3. And as you see, 8 times 3 is going to give me 24. Plus the 7 is going to give me 31, right? So I got 31 there. And then I'm ready to subtract. But before I do, I've got to check for trouble coming. And lo and behold, I got it right away, don't I? Because I cannot take 1 and subtract 2 from it. That's impossible. All right, so I'm going to borrow from the 5, turn that 5 into a 4, and turn this 1 into 11. Now this is good to go. This is good to go, and I have no more trouble coming, right? So let's go ahead and make our next area box, and I'll plug that in right there. And now I get 11 minus 2 is going to give me 9. I'm going to drop that decimal because it's like the buttons of a shirt, my friend. And then I got 4 minus 1, and that's going to give me 3. And lo and behold, 3 minus 3 zeroes out. Look here, 39 will go into 39 exactly one more time. I love that. So plug my 1 there, but it's actually not a 1. It's a 0.1. And then 1 times 39 will give me 39. 39. And I drop that decimal because it's like the buttons of a shirt, my friend. And then 3.9 minus 3.9 zeroes out. And now all I have to do is add these up, right? So I'm going to draw my line, and I'm adding up in this direction. And now let's do that. I get 6 in the ones column. I'm going to bring my decimal point up, right? And then I got 8 and 1 is going to give me 9. And 69 is your answer. I'm sorry, that's not a 69. There's a decimal point there. Shame on me. Shame, shame. 6.9, that's your answer. So, in review, 2.691 divided by 0.39 equals 6.9. Hey, as always, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon. Now to drill and kill, counting by the numbers. Hey, If you already know all your counting by the numbers and you can do them all by heart, then you can stop the video right now and move on to the next problem. However, if you don't, let's drill and kill until we know them all. And now, on to counting by the numbers. This is a great strategy for anybody who does not have all their multiplication facts memorized. Counting by threes. Ready? Here we go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Counting by fours. Ready? And 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Counting by sixes. Here we go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. Counting by sevens, here we go. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. And counting by eights, here we go. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Counting by nines, here we go. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90.